I will be forever the myth.
You're the king of kings,
There's always a pecking order. The little packers never mess with the big packers. So I'm a rooster, and he's a chicken, so to speak.
All right, welcome back to the Bodybuilding Legends Podcast. I have a special guest with us this week. His name is Mr. Paul Becker, and he just wrote a new book called Mike Mentzer and Me, My Heavy-Duty Journal of High-Intensity Training, The Logical Approach to Bodybuilding. How you doing, Paul?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
So tell me about how you decided to do this book. You were actually training with Mike Mentzer for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started bodybuilding up 78. I think you were two before. And, Mike Mentzer was all the way in. And I went and bought his book. I got it in 79, and I started doing that type of training.
Okay.
And I bought his book, first, read all his articles and everything. And then when I moved to California, he was training people. So I actually went and met with him and got personally trained by him.
Okay.
And got to sit and talk questions and, things like that.
And what year was that you were starting to actually train with Mike?
In 99.
99, okay. How old were you then, Paul?
I would have been almost 37. I think I was 36, almost 37.
Okay, cool. So when you were younger and you admired Mike, did you follow his principles then when you were younger and starting bodybuilding in 1978?
Well, it's interesting because my original workout in doing nothing was pretty much I just did one set. I just had a handful of exercises that I knew, things like, I didn't have a bench originally, but I had a bar set. So I did dips and press overhead and rows and curls. And I just did one set as hard as I could and did the next exercise. And that's how I worked out originally. I figured that's how you should do it. And the only problem is I was doing it every day.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually I did. So then when I started reading all the Arnold and et cetera, then I was like, oh, okay, you got to do more than what I've been doing. But then when I finally got Mike's book, I was like, yeah, this is the way I like to train anyway, hard and fast. And so, yeah, I've been pretty much doing some form of high-intensity training since 79. I mean, I've occasionally programs and a little bit higher volume, but mostly that's the way I like to train.
And you got good results from that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not Mr. Olympia, but I've competed successfully at the national, state level, and then competed at the national level once, the Masters USA last year, and I did okay. I'm not taking what those guys are taking, but it was. I didn't look out of place, and it was a great experience to be there.
Okay. So what was it like meeting Mike Mentzer for the first time in 1999?
Well, it was like one of those things of like, if you met Mickey Mantle or something, it's like here's this guy I'm hearing about for years and years and years, and I'm going to meet him and he's going to train me. And so it was exciting for me, and he was a nice guy, and a lot of people have negative things to say about him, but it seems like he was at a good point in his life when he met me, and he he didn't seem weird or strange or anything, and but it was really good to be able to like, okay, so what kind of form does Mike have for your exercise? What's the rep speed? What kind of failure he talk about? So all those things, and he would take through work, and then he would take me outside and we'd sit and talk for a while, and that was really enjoyable too, because you get to pick his brain and just get to know him as a person.
Was that before the workout or after?
No, after. He'd
Okay.
meet him, and then after the workout, we'd go outside and sit outside.
Okay.
And talk. He would talk and we would talk.
Yeah. So when you started training with him, did he ask you like what your goals are and how much experience you had and things like that?
It's a good question. I don't remember that. I remember him like putting his finger, checking my wrist size.
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Oh, I got a small frame." And he said, "No, it's not that small. You should see how small Robbie Robinson's wrist is."
Yeah.
And but he also commented on that I had to build, and he would like to work with me for a few months, which was what I was thinking too at the time. It's like, man,
yeah.
After that, that first workout, it'd be like, what would it be like to work out with him for months? Which didn't happen because he was doing seminars. He was going out of town to do seminars, and I ended up moving out anyway. But I definitely had a few workouts with him, which was, I learned a lot and got to see, meet the man and pick his brain.
Okay. So when you did your workouts, did he tell you like what you were going to do, or did you say, well, this is the workout that I do, and then you did that workout? I mean, was it his idea or your idea for the workout?
I mean, I did show him my work, I brought my training journal and I showed him what I currently was. But no, he chose what we were going to do.
Okay.
Which, if you've read his Heavy Duty 2, Mind and Body, that's the workout he put me through.
Okay.
Like the first workout we did was legs, and then the next workout we did was chest and back.
Okay.
Because he had like chest and back, legs, and then your next workout was legs again, and then the next workout was shoulders and arms.
Oh, okay.
And then repeat.
And how many days in between workouts?
In the book, he suggested like 3 days off. But I remember telling him, like, "Oh, I just did back a couple days ago," and he was like, "Oh, it'll be fine." So I think that he wasn't as stuck on it as some people think.
Yeah.
Like one of the reasons I even wrote the book was, first of all, I started seeing his original books, people asking hundreds of dollars, $400 for a copy of like Duty One, right?
Really? Wow.
Etc. Yeah, look on eBay and Amazon and see if you could find his book. People were asking insane prices for it.
Wow, no kidding.
Because they're out of print.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to sell them if they have them.
Yeah.
So, and then there was another thing where I saw a guy who made a video about trying the routine. He just, without really understanding the theory of it, just followed it blind. That's okay. I'm going to do this chest and back. Then I'm going to rest 3 days. Then I'm going to do legs. Then I'm going to rest 3 days off, and he didn't get good results. And that's what he reported. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't expect you to.
So why wouldn't a guy like that get good results? Because what did Mike do differently then?
Well, Mike even said, if you listen to his interviews and seminars, he even talked about genetic differences. Like there's giants, there's midgets, there's albino, super dark skinned people, and not so there's the same thing with exercise tolerance and recovery ability.
Okay.
You can't just blindly follow that routine. It could be too little for you, too much rest that you've already grown and already started to atrophy. It could be too much if you're like a midget of recovery ability or an albino of it.
Yeah.
It could be too much. Because Mike had one workout where you do 3 sets and rest a week. That was his, like you do a squat and a dip and a pull down with palms up, pull down, and that was the whole workout, which covers the whole body.
Yeah.
And we use that for guys who are like really super hard gamers. So Mike would, if he worked personally with people in the gym or a phone client, he might start them at a certain level, but he would adjust it based on what was going on with them, because not everybody's the same.
Okay. So did he do that with you then, Paul, when you started training with him? How did he learn like what your recovery was?
Well, we didn't train long enough to adjust, but he had already, just the fact that he said, you know, because I was kind of thinking along the lines like, don't I need all this rest? And you know, I told Sid back a few days ago, he's like, it'll be fine. You know, I guess he was just judging it on my development and you know what we did on the first workout. So. But if we would have worked longer, I think he would have known me a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, I did continue to follow. He wrote down, you know, he wrote down a workout for me. You know, and I continued to follow for a while, and I adapted myself because he eventually passed on anyway. He passed on in 2001.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't much longer. I had already moved. I moved to Oregon from California, but yeah, that was shocking to hear that he had passed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, shocking.
But it's interesting. Have you ever seen that video he made right before he passed on?
What happened?
Did you ever see the DVD that he made, the workout DVD he made right before he died?
No.
Okay, because he made a workout DVD right before he died. Him and his brother and Marcus Reinhardt were in it.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. He looked 20 years older.
Really?
From the time that I trained. I was like, what happened to Mike? What health problems did he have or whatever? And I heard he had some heart attacks and he fell down some steps and there was some stuff. But
wow.
It definitely was strange.
So just in 1 year, you saw a huge difference in how he looked.
I was with him in the summer '99, and he died June 10th, I believe, 2021. So 2 years.
Yeah.
He looked like he aged. Because when I met him, he was 47, and he looked about that age.
Yeah.
But in the video, he's 49, and he looks like 70. It's strange.
Oh wow! No kidding. Oh, that's crazy.
But he had a lot of health issues, sadly.
Yeah.
There was a lot of health issues in the Mentzer family.
Yeah.
Like even his parents died fairly young, and he had a sister.
Yeah. Right.
I just read an old interview where he mentioned that there was some kind of genetic clotting issue in his family.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people want to run to the drugs, steroids, or whatever killed him, but his parents and his certainly weren't taking those.
Yeah, usually with the heart attacks, it's always genetic, or a lot of times it's genetic.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me a little bit about like your workouts with him. Like for example, like what did you guys do for legs?
Legs, he had me do a leg extension.
Okay.
To failure. Immediately, I believe we were on the machine where the Nautilus machine where it's built in. The leg extension's there and the leg press is there.
Right.
So right after the leg extension was when you start the leg press and you do that to failure. Okay. I was all for thighs. And then we did calves, just one set of standing calves. Okay. And then he doesn't usually have you do it, but he did have me do a leg curl because he wanted to show me the static contraction. Okay. So basically had me put a pretty heavy weight on it and helped me into the fully contracted position. Okay. And I held that there as good, and then he had me lower that really, really slow. Okay. That was good for legs.
So when you did the leg extension, leg press, did he have you? I mean, obviously you trained to failure. So did you do any warm ups, or did you just go right to that one set?
Yeah, he had me warm up a little bit on the leg press.
Okay,
But
so you did like a little warm up on the extension and
yeah,
the
he'd take maybe 50% of the weight and have, but it was only, I don't know, do 4 reps, and then 75% of the weight and do like 3-4 reps. But they were, you know, he was having me do reps that were like 4 seconds up and 4 seconds down.
even on the warm ups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, it's still, you know, the warm ups, you know, it's not as short as if you did fast reps.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, he felt that was sufficient warm up, and then we right into the leg extension, leg press.
So then you do the 1 set and it's all out to failure. So did he do any like forced reps or negatives, or were they just positive failure?
Just a positive failure. He had, at that point in his life, you know, he knew that most people, it was overkill for, like, you know, because back when Ray and him trained in the 70s, they did positive failure, then forced reps, then negative reps. You know, they used, you know, and he found that for most people, that's a bit overkill. It's more than what they need.
Okay.
So, yeah, he just took me to positive failure, which is still pretty hard. You know?
Yeah.
Especially on the press after you're done with that leg extension. It's pretty hard.
Yeah. Were you sore from that, Paul? Like after a couple days after?
You know, I was pretty conditioned, so I didn't get a little bit, not super sore. I had already been used to, you know, it wasn't like super different than what I had been doing in the gym anyway, except I didn't always do the pre-exhaust.
Okay.
But yeah, I got, and I definitely felt it, like right after the workout. My legs definitely felt worked.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. And then how many days would you rest your legs before you went back and did them again?
Well, you know, what he had me do, what he wrote down for me was you do, because he basically considered chest and back and upper body workout.
Okay.
So then let's start with chest and back. Then you rest 3 days and you do legs. Then you rest 3 days and then you do shoulders and arms, which he considered upper body work.
Okay.
And then you wait another 3 days and did legs again. So that ends up about a week for legs.
Okay. All right.
Like legs once a week-ish, 6 to 7, whatever it would be.
Okay, gotcha. And what would you do for chest and back?
Chest and back, he had me do a pec deck, superset, you know, pre-exhaust superset with incline press. The incline press, he had you do like your hands close and your elbows was what you had wide.
Hands close. Wide.
Yeah. He felt it's the elbows that have to. I mean, not super close, but you know how most people do an incline or a bench press. They have a wide grip. He felt that the grip was probably about shoulder width, but then the elbows were wide. Were you know, you kept your elbows flared out wide. Okay,
that's interesting.
And
then that was a barbell. That was a barbell thrust on a machine.
No, he did it on a machine.
It
was, I don't know what machine that is, but it was, you know, it was not a hammer, but more like, it looked more like an old school universal type device, which had the weight stack and the handles.
Okay.
But it was specifically an incline press.
And you do the pec deck and then go right to that.
Yeah, with no rest in between. And that was pretty much what he had me do for chest. And then for the back, he had me do palms up, pull downs. And on things like pec deck, like I said, 4 seconds. But on things like pec deck and pull downs where there was where there's resistance in the contracted position, he would have me hold that count of 2. So let's say you do pull down. like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, hold 1,000, 2,000, and then back up the 4.
Okay.
So the form was really strict and, kept the tension on the muscle throughout.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he chose weight. He just kind of chose a weight that I would be able to do on pull down. And the first rep was hard. And I was like, I said to him, I says, Mike, I think this is too heavy. He said, no, you'll be fine. You'll do 6 to 8. And he got me to do 6 to 8 reps. So I was like, wow, that's pretty, if I was on my own, train on my, probably would have stopped and lowered the weight. But having somebody like that to push you was pretty cool.
Okay. So it was a heavy weight. It was really, really heavy.
Yeah.
Challenging. Yeah.
Well, it felt hard. Like that first rep felt hard, but somehow or another he had about 6 to 8, even in that strict, slow style. So.
Yeah. So what were you doing? You were doing the pull down underneath, and what were you supersetting that with?
No, there wasn't a superset.
Oh, there wasn't a superset. Okay.
At one point, he was having people do pull over, pull down, like a Nautilus pull.
Yeah, that would be like an isolation and a compound.
Yeah, but at this point, he almost felt like that was too much for most people, so he just had me do the.
So your chest back workout was really 3 exercises then total.
Well, yeah, and then afterwards he had me do a set of deadlifts.
Oh, really? Deadlifts? Okay.
And he felt like that was one of the best overall body exercises.
Okay. So how would you do that? Like a regular deadlift off the floor? Huh?
Yeah, regular deadlift with the I forget what the grip where one hand's forward, one hand's back.
Mm-hmm.
And of course that same kind of strict style and everything.
Yeah. And then how many reps would you do on that? Like 6 to 8? Pretty heavy?
I believe 5 to 8 reps was what he recommended for the deadlift.
Okay. All right. So he
recommended for most upper body exercises, he was recommending 6 to 10. But some like if you would do pec deck, that would be 6 to 10. But then the incline press, he said 2 to 4. So, and later on I thought about that and I was like, he was still trying to make you use the weight you would usually use for an incline press, not lower it. So that's why you could only eke out about 2 to 4 on it. And then for lower body exercises, he like for thighs, it was kind of like what was it, 8 to 15 or something like that. But then for calves, it was like 12 to 20 reps is what he recommended.
Okay. So you said incline press, he would have you do a weight you could only do 2 to 4 reps?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
And I never understood that, but I recently thought about it and I said, he was just, because a lot of people, if they do a pre-exhaust, they'll lower the weight that they use. Okay. Pre-exhaust for bench press, you lower the weight so you can do like whatever 8 to 10 reps with the bench press, even after a pec deck or a fly. But I think Mike was just like, no, you're going to use the same damn weight you use, and you're just going to do a few less reps is all.
Oh, okay. So you trained with him for a month. So would he use the same weight each week, or if you did the next time you did chest and back, would he use the same weight and then just try to get you to do more reps?
That would depend on what your performance was. Like if you were at your top, like if you had done, let's say you did 10 reps on the pec deck and 4 or more on the incline press, then the weight's up.
Then he would raise the weight.
Didn't quite. Let's say you only made 2 reps on the incline press. He would try to get you to do more reps rather than more weight.
Okay, that's interesting. So you only worked with him basically for a month then, and then he was busy doing his seminars and stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, I was getting ready to move, and I think he did I don't know if you've ever seen, he did a seminar in Canada, and I think that he went out to go do that. And, it just didn't work out that we could get more workouts in. And I was stupid because I put that off. I used to call him up, and I was living in Hollywood and he was in Santa Monica, and he'd go, come on down. Okay, we'll do that one day, and then my wife tells me, hey, I got a job offer in Oregon. And I'm like, oh, I better go do some things that I'm not gonna have a chance to do once I move.
Yeah. So,
I called him up and made the appointment. And workouts in with the man.
So after a month of training with him consistently, Paul, what did you notice as far as the changes in your physique?
I got stronger in those particular lifts. At first, everything seemed to be working, but I didn't just keep, I kept that up after I moved too.
Yeah.
And completely honest, it was too much rest for me. I feel like I was like, because the truth is that you're training chest like twice a month.
Yeah.
And the truth is, now Mike used to ask people, he asked everybody, he said that, have you ever noticed if you come back from a layoff, even 2 to 3 weeks, you're stronger?
Yeah.
What's your answer to that?
Yeah, if you're overtrained, yeah.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, nope, I'm not stronger.
Okay.
I might be a little bit weaker. I might be the same or a little bit weaker. 2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, that's a long layoff, yeah.
I think that I had already recovered and was going downhill, because it's like when you stimulate a muscle
backwards, yeah,
that stimulate a muscle, you get an up swoop, and enough time goes by, it starts going down again. So I think that's
right. Okay.
And I just started adjusting things for what worked for me better.
Okay, so you adjusted the routine then and gave yourself less rest days.
Yeah, because it's just for my body. Like I said, I don't, 2 to 3 weeks, I'm weaker. I might be able to do the same weight, but I have to do a few less reps and then work my way back up if I take that much time off.
Yeah, I agree.
So I adjusted it for what works best for me. That's kind of what the book's about. It's like my own journey because I tried every routine Mike ever put out. That original routine that he had in the first book I got in '79 was a 4-day-a-week routine.
Yeah.
You train half your body Monday and Tuesdays, and the other half of your body on Thursdays and Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for years, and eventually had to switch that to an every other day because it was getting to be too much. So the book covers my whole journey of like starting at 17 and the different routines I went through and what I'm, and even up to what I do these days.
Oh, okay.
And just give people like, well, how do you decide what's right for you, And
yeah.
And it's gonna take some trial and error and some observation and experimentation.
Yeah.
Somebody could give you, okay, we'll try this, but it's, you're still going to have to see how your own body responds to any training.
Yeah. So when Mike first came out as a bodybuilder, and then, he came out with this revolutionary training program where it was less sets and, less exercises. I remember one of the criticisms he was getting from guys like Arnold was they were saying that he wasn't doing enough exercises to fully develop the body. Like if he's only doing 1 or 2 exercises for a big body part like back, then he's not going to be able to get the upper back, the lower lats, the middle back. So how do you feel about that criticism?
I think he was doing more. I think he was doing more. Like
back then?
Think he did do. I think he would do back then. I think for back he would do like some type of pullover and
Yeah, the Nautilus pullover. You did that a lot. Yeah.
And then a row, but he would also work his traps, which are part of your back, and sometimes work his spinal erectors with. So now he was definitely doing less than the 70s guys were doing.
Sure, yeah.
But for myself, like Mike had everybody do his later suggestions with people just do a pec deck or a fly and an incline press, and that's it for your chest.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
I currently do like a dumbbell bench, an incline dumbbell bench, a dip, and then a fly or a pec deck. And that seems to handle all the areas of the chest, because I find if I don't do dips, my lower pecs aren't there really.
Right. So how do you do that? Do you do like what Mike suggested, like a couple warm-up sets, and then you do the one all-out set? You're still doing that structure?
Yeah.
Okay. But you just added more exercise.
Just one work set per exercise.
Okay.
And that seems to work for me.
And then how are you progressing? Are you like judging it by how many reps you're getting, and then when you get a certain number of reps, do you go up in weight, or how do you do that? With your own training?
Pretty much the same.
Okay.
If I did 10 or better reps, there's some exercises I'll do a little more reps with, and like the pec deck, I'll do a little more reps than let's say the dumbbell press, dumbbell bench. Like I might go up on the dumbbell bench if I hit 10 reps. On the pec deck, it might be over 12 or something.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now you said you were a natural bodybuilder, Paul. Do you feel that this training is better for someone who's natural than it would be for someone who's enhanced?
I don't really know how to judge it because I've never been on, right? So
yeah.
But I do think, I'm told that, steroids can, you can do more work more often. And, if you could do that, you would probably make better progress. Like if you could train, more often and with more sets, and still recover and grow and not get exhausted and catch a cold or whatever happens, things that happen when you get overtrained, I think you do better. But so just from what I understand, I think it's better. But even though I'm very much into high intensity training, I also know there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you can make progress with doing higher volume or more pump sets and things like that. And I think that also has to do with what your own personality type. A more laid back guy might be like, I just like taking it a little easier, but doing more sets and getting a better pump.
Okay.
And
yeah.
But for me, it's boring. I've done it. It's like it's kind of boring. I got 3 more sets of this section. So I kind of like to get in there, work hard, and go do something else.
Is it hard to get psyched up to knowing that every workout you have to go to all out failure? Do you have certain days where you're like, oh, I just, I had a bad day. I didn't get enough sleep. I don't feel like going all out, to complete failure.
Yeah. I mean, look, the thing is, if you're doing this as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You're not every workout isn't going to be your best workout ever. It's just, it's like, so yeah, there's some days I might not even push myself that hard. Okay, I got what I got last time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's next workout. If I feel, if I'm more energetic or more into it, I'll do better.
Yeah.
So basically there is a certain amount of, the body's not a machine. It's got ups and downs. So I go with it because it's like, there isn't there isn't an emergency, right? I mean, when I'm training for a contest, of course, I'm more motivated, but just on every day, I have some up days and some down days, but in general, the trend is up.
Yeah. So I noticed in the book, one of your chapters is heavy duty nutrition and diet. What kind of philosophy did Mike have in regards to nutrition that was maybe different from the regular bodybuilding nutrition?
Well, the funny thing is Mike was opposite on everything. Back in the day, everything was high volume.
Yeah.
And low carb, high fat, high protein diet.
Right.
Mike, like, no, low volume, high intensity training, high carbohydrate, low fat, moderate protein diet.
Right.
He was opposite everybody.
Right.
But basically what he was suggesting was, back in the day, we learned this in school, they didn't have the pyramid back then. They had the 4 food groups.
Yeah.
Back when we were kids, right, in school. And that's what he said, look, this is what, nutritional scientists recommend. It's a balanced diet. You get your fruits and vegetables and your grains and cereals and your dairy product and your meat and poultry and eggs and things like that. And you have the recommended serving, so it's all balanced. But if you want to gain weight, you have to have a calorie surplus, and if you want to lose weight and fat, you have a deficit of calories.
Yeah.
And he always said that calories are calories, but he also acknowledged that there are hormonal issues. Like if you take in a bunch of sugar, you do get insulin spikes and things like that.
Yeah.
But in general, his philosophy on diet was fairly simple. And let's be honest, Mike had great genetics.
Yeah.
And I said it didn't matter what Mike ate. Mike could eat, white bread and turn it into muscle. Yeah. So it's just like training. It's not necessarily. I mean, the basics are there. You still want to have a fairly balanced diet, and calories, do count. But there's still going to be variations. Like I couldn't eat a 60% carbohydrate diet and get ripped.
Yeah, especially as you get older.
When I train for a contest, I have adequate protein, low fat, and moderate carbs.
Okay.
And that's what works for me.
Yeah. Especially as you get older, it changes. So. Yeah. So the book is released. You just released it about a week ago. You said, right? Yeah. Okay.
Like a week, Friday, and like 2 days. Yeah, about 8 days or whatever it's been. Yeah.
And what's your website, Paul?
Trulyhuge.com.
Trulyhuge.com. Okay. And you can also get it on Amazon, you said, as well, right?
Yeah. So okay. It's currently listed. It's currently for sale on my website and then Amazon and eBay.
Okay. And
soon to have it up on barnesandnoble.com.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to mention about the book? I tried to cover some of what was in your table of contents here, but is there anything else that stands out to you when you wrote the book?
I think it just will. It'll give a good overview of Mike's training. Mike's training advice, philosophy, and I think also and my journey over the last 45 years. And I think people will find some of it entertaining. Yeah. And will also, see themselves in a lot of my stories, and also learn like how to apply this to themselves.
Yeah. I know Mike is still, he's been dead for over 20 years now. Yeah. And he's still very, very popular. And I know anytime I do a show about him or we talk about him, like we've had John Little, who's an author, and he was a good friend of Mike. We've had him on the show a few times. It always gets a lot of views because people are really still interested in Mike, I think, himself, and also in his training philosophy.
Yep. It's like Mike had said in an interview once that he thought that Joe Weider was doing the public a disservice by saying they had to train 6 days a week for hours a day. Yeah. Because he runs like, yeah, I'd like to work out, but who's got that time?
Right.
You know, but
It wasn't good for the average person.
yeah, the average person is more than willing to work out, let's say 3-4 days a week for
Yeah.
35 minutes. They have time for that.
Yeah.
And you can get good results from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I got into bodybuilding, it was around 1976, 77. So that's when Mike was kind of just coming on the scene. And I remember everybody, like when I started going to a gym, everybody was training 6 days a week, everybody. And then I remember we all were reading the magazines because everybody read the magazines back then. And we were hearing, what we were all reading about Mike's way of training. And we all did, I think everybody pretty much across the board changed their philosophy a little bit, maybe they weren't doing one set, an exercise like Mike was, but I think everybody cut back. If we were training 6 days a week, we probably went to 4 days a week, or at least 3 days on, 1 day off or something. We were taking into consideration the recuperation of the muscles and how the muscles grow when they're resting, and cutting back on that volume and then increasing the intensity. So I think Mike really did change the whole philosophy of training and really did change the sport by himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I look at routines now and they're more like, because Mike back then wasn't always doing one set. He would do 2 to 3 sets sometimes per exercise. But still, the funny story is when I was working out in the gym in '79, and after my workout, I just sat and talked with the manager.
Okay.
And he says to me, who I think has this all figured out? Mike Mentzer. I go, how come? Why do you say it? And he says, because everybody else is doing 20 sets per body part. Here's this guy doing 3 to 5 sets per body part, and he's growing so fast.
Yeah.
And he took a magazine he had on his desk and rips out the order form for Mike's book and hands it to me. So I was like, I'll read it. That's it. But yeah, when I look at programs, like I remember a bunch of the programs like Bill Phillips used to recommend. It's like, this is so reminiscent of what Mike was doing in the '70s, 4 days a week, maybe 3 to 5 sets of body part, and it's more common now than doing, because Arnold and those guys at times would be doing, with their double split and everything, they were training each body part 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And it was just, he talked about up to 4 or 5 hours a day in the gym, because they do the morning work, evening workout.
Yeah.
And, so it seems like what Mike was suggesting then is almost common. And let's be honest, Dorian Yates had a lot to do with that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dorian had a high intensity training program. It wasn't as low as what Mike was later suggesting, but Dorian did what worked for him. Yeah. But it was still more of a low volume, high intensity approach than what Arnold and those guys were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I see these younger kids on social media and stuff, and I don't think they really understand how training works. And I don't know where they're getting their information, maybe some YouTube channel or something. And they think that you have to do like a certain amount of volume. You have to do a lot of sets. And I'll even see a lot of them in the gym, and they're not training hard, but they're just putting in the sets. And like sometimes if someone's on a bench and I'll say, how many sets you got left? They'll say, I just started. Like they've got a long way to go. They're just doing so many sets. And they feel like you have to put in all these sets in order to make progress. I don't think they understand the idea of intensity and recuperation. The muscle can only handle so much,
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because I when I was training for the Masters USA, I trained in the local gym. Usually I train in my home gym. But it was so hot. It's a garage gym, and it was so hot that summer. I decided, let me train in the local gym. And I saw some guys, and, I'd be in and out of there in 40 minutes. And those guys were in there, they'd still be training the same body part when I was done with, 2 or 3 body parts. They'd still be, I don't know how long they went. And then I was in the grocery store the other day, and I saw both those guys. And I was like, they look exactly the same as they did
Right.
a year ago. They've
Right.
done all this work, and their physiques are not improved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I think, the whole idea of intensity and how hard you really have to train in order to force the muscle to grow. I think a lot of people still don't understand that even after all these years.
yeah, exactly. I mean, look, that's a basic, because I think that even Arnold, they would at least do that last set of an exercise pretty damn hard.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of work up to it, a lot of pyramiding up to that.
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look, those guys, look, Arnold had the best genetics ever. He was on steroids. His job was training.
Yeah.
So, all those things that he could get away with, the volume he did. But, when you talk, Rick Drayson, he said in the off season, they weren't doing all that.
Right. Right.
4 days a week.
Yeah.
A lot less. So, that was pre-contest.
Yeah.
And we all thought that's what we had to do to get the original size, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I made that mistake. I made that mistake too.
Yeah. It was attractive because everybody wants to be Arnold.
Right. Exactly.
Even now, 50 years later, like this is going to be 50 years since the 1974 Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I look at the pictures and I say, nobody looks like that today.
I know.
It's like, yeah, maybe they got bigger thighs, bigger backs, but their waists are much bigger.
Yeah.
But even I saw an interview with Ronnie Coleman that said, look at Arnold's pecs. Nobody's had pecs.
That's true.
And the bicep, he was just outstanding. Him and Sergio still.
Yeah, I agree.
Out is like, what kind of genetics these guys have? It's amazing.
Yeah, and they were both around at the same time too. That's really wild.
Yeah. I got to meet Sergio once. He's a super nice guy. Of course, he wasn't. This was 2004. He didn't look like anything, but
yeah.
In his day, unbelievable.
Oh, unbelievable. The myth. Yeah. Well, listen, best of luck to you with your new book. It's called Mike Mentzer and Me, and as Paul said, it's available now on Amazon and on what's your website again, Paul?
Trulyhuge.com.
Trulyhuge.com. That's easy to remember. Okay. All right, Paul. Well, we wish you the best of luck with the book, and I'll put the links below on this interview so people can click there and buy it. And I hope it does really well. Yeah, thanks a lot. It's an honor to be on your show. I watch it all the time. Oh, great. Thank you. All right, Paul. Well, best of luck to you, and take care. Yep. Thanks again. All right, Paul. Bye-bye.